Perfect. All right. So hello again, everybody. And yes, today we'll be doing a short class example with a chair. I have a yoga chair in the back, but just a regular chair, like you just said, no wheels. It's good. Blocks and a strap. Okay, so I'm just going to go there and I wish you all a good practice, a good class. All right, so let me just explain you how I thought about this class, how we can benefit more for our learning and for what we're doing here. Class is going to be divided into two segments, right? So first segment will be on chair, and this will be addressing the people that cannot get out of the chair. I'm not talking about people that do not have mobility on the lower part of the body. I'm talking about people that really, sometimes we have, there's a metastatic cancer on the legs and they cannot really be getting up and down, but there is movement. So just to be clear, this is not for somebody that cannot move the lower part of the body, although they'll get ideas and examples for that. Then the second part will be addressed to the people that we start chair yoga, but to get them out of the chair. I'm used to working a lot with older people and in my oncology yoga classes, and older people just from other classes. And there is a fear sometimes to be standing up because they don't have the strength, or they haven't done a lot of yoga standing up, and they prefer to be sitting down. But empower somebody to get out of the chair safely. That's where I want to go with this class as well. So those are going to be the two parts. We're going to address nervous system, chemo brain. Okay. So let's start. If you see me throwing comments here and there, just bear with me because sometimes I talk a lot. So let's start on the chair and come a little bit further from the back of the chair. We don't want to be sitting on the back of the chair and rounding. So I don't know if you know, but I got this from a friend that teaches ergonomics. The hole here for most of the chairs, they're made to let the buttocks come out. So there is support for the back. But for the movement we're going to be doing, we want to be a little bit further in the front. So feet separated, hip distance apart, and a nice long back. So let's start with warming up the spine. Palms of the hands going up, because that will indicate our nervous system that we can relax. Try the opposite. Place the palms of the hands down. Immediately our brain or body says, what am I doing? Where am I going? Do I have to get up? Do I have to run? So this is a movement on the legs that gets me ready. So palms of the hands up. We're here. We arrived. Great. So let's take a moment here and elongating the spine and having just an awareness of how our feet are placed onto the ground, what is around us, the tools that we're using. And with your next breath in, bring your arms up. Can be in cactus pose, can be higher. Bring the arms down and just measure and breathe in and out. Take another breath slowly. And now bring the arms in cactus pose. One arm goes up, the other hand goes down, and lengthen the spine. You can lengthen the arm or keep it as far up as you can. The hand goes behind the head in side bending as you exhale. You can always turn the head and look up wherever your elbow is pointing. Grounding your heels is important, so press down onto your heels. Come all the way back up to center as you inhale, cactus pose. Opposite side, lengthen one arm, relax the opposite arm. Give that lift and that length to elongate the spine as you inhale. Hand goes to the back of the head, bending sideways. The head is received by the hand receives the head. You can always turn your eyes and look up to wherever your elbow is pointing. Come all the way back, center as you inhale. And then we're going to go towards rotation. One side. Hands can be on the legs or one hand on the back of the chair. Come back to center as you inhale and rotate to the opposite side, exploring how the weight is shifting on your feet as you rotate. Can you still bring both heels down, pressing your feet gently down? Come back to center as you inhale, arms in cactus pose, and then as you exhale, close. We can give a little bit of a forward action and then come back, open, nose lifts a little bit hard in front, and then release the hands on the sides. So one important thing about encouraging continuation, repetition in chemo braid is that we forget. So let's try to remember what we did. So arms go up, cactus pose, one arm goes up, and then releasing the opposite arm down. Bring the hand into the head into the hand, and side bend to lift the elbow, look up. As you inhale, come back to center, and then exhale. Lift the other arm, relax the opposite arm down. Bring the hand back. And then as you exhale, side bend. Gently turn your head, press into the hand receives the head. As you inhale, come back to center, arms in cactus pose. Exhale and rotate to one side. What comes next? So inhale and come to center. And exhale, you got it right, to the other side. Come back to center, inhale. Remember what we did? So we're closing a little bit, and then we're leaning slightly forward to feel the sensation of our feet, weight on our feet. Come back to center as you inhale and open your heart and release the hands. Good. Now, open your legs just a tiny little bit more. Heels press down, making sure that you're not onto one leg or to the other. Try to keep that center and the pelvis pressing down. Always a good idea to find your sit bones. Bring one arm down. Before moving any further, press your heels down. Find the soles of your feet and press them gently into the ground. A side movement of the arms. So as you lengthen one arm, if it's not possible to lengthen completely, bring your arm into cactus pose. On your next inhalation, allow the torso to float gently up. What we don't want here is to collapse on the leg. So either arm in cactus pose or fully length. Then on your next inhale, come all the way back. Come to center and change to the other side. First, create the form, then bring the feeling into the posture. Your feet grounding, your torso floating, and then as you inhale, lengthen the arm. And reach up. If the shoulder goes up, then the head is going to be stuck. So relax your shoulder, either cactus pose or arm long and lengthen. Slowly, as you inhale, come back to center and then release. So let's close the legs a little bit and grab a block. I'm going to rotate so the back of the chair is, for me, is on my right side. My right foot is forward. My left foot, the knee is folded. And I'm going to support my knee with a block. Okay, so I'm just gonna turn a little bit. So This will create support for the leg, for the knee. Other foot, if sometimes we see people with really short legs, I cannot get on the ground, just put another block. But it's important to have this front leg as your grounding leg. So elongation of the spine, and let's do a little warriors pose series. Bring arms up. Inhale and float your arms. Exhale and bring the arms into cactus pose, arm vinyasa. Inhale, pressing your front foot down. Inhale and bring the arms up. And then exhale and resist the temptation to go down too fast into cactus pose. One last time, inhale and lengthen. And then exhale and fold. Good. Keep the arms on the same position, but rotate your torso towards the back of the chair. Release the hands and grab the back of the chair. That's it. Exactly. So now your head turns. Pelvis heavy. Long back. Shoulders relax and head soft. On your next inhale, come back to center, keeping the legs on the same position. With one hand, find the seat of the chair. Other hand lengthens and bends sideways. So creating a space between the knee to the thigh to the hip to the arm. Always use cactus pose when there is no full range of motion or when mobility is not there. Come back to center as we inhale and then release. Moving to the other side. So turn in center first, find your center, and then turning to the other side. So placing the block, take all your time you need so you can find some support into that leg. Front leg well placed. And then inhale, bring arms up into warrior pose 1. Let's do the arm vinyasa. As you exhale, cactus pose. Pressing down with your feet, inhale and lengthen arms. And exhale and bring the arms in cactus pose. Inhale, you're pressing down with your feet and the fingers lift up towards the ceiling. Exhale and come into cactus pose. Take a moment here. On your next exhalation, rotation of your torso to take the hands to the back of the chair. Allow that heaviness to arrive to the pelvis. That's it. Notice your breath, soft and natural, not forcing, not pushing, not pulling. Grounding your legs. Come all the way back to center and rotate all the way to the front of your chair. Let's put the block away for a moment. Find your sit bones again and open your legs. So a comfortable, wide position of legs. One of the things that cancer treatments has as a side effect is what we call brain fog, chemo brain. So sometimes we forget things. We cannot focus. How can we help in our yoga practice? By repetition, by coordination, because we want to keep all those neural paths connecting from the brain towards the rest of the body. So let's do a little movement. Lift your heels. Bring the arms in cactus pose. Now, as your heels go down, lift the arms, elongate the spine. As your heels go up, arms in cactus pose. Inhale, heels down, arms up. Exhale, arms cactus, heels up. Inhale, arms up, and heels down. And then exhale, slowly use that strength on your legs to heels up. Heels go down, arms up. One more time. And then exhale, lift the heels. Release the hands, release the heels, and close your legs slowly. Great. Coming now to the lower part of the body. Find the connection with your back, with your belly. Find a space on the belly. Find a space on your heart. And then let's take the strap. So we can use a strap, we can use the belt of a bathrobe, you can use a scarf, you can use a tie, anything that is long and that is not elastic. Okay, we want to have some resistance. We have to create a little bit of tension in the belt. So let's loop the belt onto one foot. Okay, and I'm just going to go a little back. It's always that dance about what can you see in camera and what you cannot, right? So grab the belt, and what we're creating with the belt is information for our foot. So first, before you do anything, see if you can feel with the sole of your foot the belt. Press gently into the belt. Use your hands to pull slightly up, but shoulders relax. Can you feel the belt? Then lift the leg. As you exhale, lengthen the leg. The foot is getting information from the belt. Bring the leg to center and then release. Lift the foot, help yourselves by bringing the elbows back, lifting the hands. As you exhale, use the power of the exhalation to lengthen. If it's not possible to lift the leg, you can just slide the leg forward. Bring the leg back to center. One more time, lift the leg. And then as you exhale, pressing forward, keeping a long back. Bring the leg back to center and release. Let's try the other side. So there is something so amazingly important happening here. When our feet find that connection with the texture of the belt and we give a little support and resistance, we are creating that connection from our foot to the brain. So the brain listens to the fascia. There are all receptors around the fascia of the body. The brain listens to the fascia and talks to the muscle. So that's how we create and keep neural paths going. So here we go. Lift the foot, help yourselves with lifting with your hands, roll the shoulders back and press away on the belt. Feel the resistance of the belt. Pull the elbows back and then release and bring the leg down. Inhale. You can always use your exhale to lift, to give you a little more support on the abdominal muscles. Inhale again. And then exhale, pressing forward. Bring the leg back to center and down. Last time, lifting the leg. Wait for your exhalation. Exhale, press into the belt. Pull the belt gently towards your elbows back. And then release and lower. Let the belt or the strap on the side. Take a little breath, find your center again. If it feels good, you can always do that little brushing of the legs from down the leg up towards the inner groin. Always thinking about fluids, lymphatic fluids going up and just creating some connection. The touch of our hands into the legs creates a connection on your brain. We're tactile beings, right? And then come back to center. All right. So legs hip distance apart. And then we're going to encourage movement in our bodies. So fall slightly forward. Remember we did that before? The feet pressing down, and then bring the arms forward. And just let your body recognize that posture. It's kind of a chair pose. Doesn't it feel like you want to get up, you want to lift up, and then come back? Let's use that, creating that pathway from our brain to give instruction to the muscles to engage as if we were going to get up. So inhale here. Bring your hands back. And as you exhale, imagine you're going to jump, but you don't. So you create that intention going forward and then come back. Inhale again. Exhale, ground your feet, lengthen up, and then come back. Notice what is happening on your legs, on your buttocks, on your back, on your belly. Inhale. And then exhale, pressing, and then come back. Right? And let's do it 2 more times. Inhale. Intention works here. And exhale, going forward, and then come back. Last time. Inhale and exhale, creating that work a little bit on the muscles, and then come back and release. Perfect. Great. So let's settle back into the chair. And as we come towards the end of this first part, let's create a little bit of a dissolving body awareness. So sits bones onto the chair, shoulders relax, and let's make a little seesaw with the arms, going forward, going back, and get that rhythm going. Get that rhythm with a long back, very soft and rhythmic and continuous movement. Notice what is happening on your lower body. There's action, right? There's something happening there. So when we do a movement like if we were walking, there's a sliding of the glute muscles back and forth. There might be a little shifting of weight from foot to foot. There might be a rhythm of breath even. And you're floating. There's not a lot of effort. But inside your body, there's so many beautiful things lighting up. The brain is creating circuits that talking to the muscles allows you to gain strength even when you're sitting. And then let's dissolve. Let's come back slowly and place the palms of the hands up. Take a breath and exhale. Now, for our sunset pose. Ideally, and this I'm talking to you teachers, I would put my students with a chair next to a wall. So that way, when we come to the end of the class and we relax, there can be the buttocks on that little hole of the chair. The back keeps its elongation, but the head could rest on the wall. So don't start moving furniture now. This is just for the purpose of a learning experience. So one option could be simply feet down, palms of the hands up, head resting on the wall. Or for some people, it would be really nice to put the feet up on the blocks. Relax the legs, palms of the hands facing up. That's it. And even if we're here on the chair, we can find that sensation to be grounded, relaxed. Cancer can be perceived as dark spots around the body. Yoga practice brings light in every single little corner of the body, creating beautiful circuits going from our brain to the muscle to the skin, like a Christmas tree. Instead of a dim light, we have a bright inner being. Take another breath here. And relax. Good. So let's say we did about 5 minutes of relaxation. So now, again, I would end my class there, and there are many options that we can do sitting. We can do all the movements of the arms. We can create strength for the back. We can create many things. But now I want to take you a little bit more towards the second part of the class. How do we empower somebody to feel safe to leave the chair. Okay, so here are two options, and just watch me first, and then we're going to do them together. All right, so just bear with me. Now, I'm going to be on the side of the chair. There is my front leg, that's my grounding leg. And a little bit before, I was talking about feeling the soles of the feet, grounding your heel, shifting weight. We're going to use all that. It's so important to not separate in pieces the body, okay? So grounding leg, the back leg is going to be my power leg. And this power leg is going to be used with the power of my exhale, okay? So in order to be safely coming up, just watch first, then we'll do it. Hand on the back of the chair. I'm lengthening, and I'm going to go again as if I was coming up, but I don't. Giving the instruction to the muscles, I'm coming up, but I'm not. Now I'm coming up. I exhale, power leg, grounding leg, come back, and then we sit, okay? Second way to get up, just watch. We're using the same principles. That's why it's so important to instruct little things before. So then we come back to those, and then there's a little more of a time to digest. It's more grounded into the body. It's more placed into the muscles. So my second way that I instruct people how to get up will be grounding your feet, either one or two hands. One hand can be on the chair. And now exhale and come up. Okay, so it's all about a logical way to using the shifting of weight, to using our breath, and still being safe. What you see most of the times is person has a cane here and they will go like this, and then they're stuck because it's all crooked. So let's try. Get into your chair, turn to the side. So one side, the back of the chair is on your hand. First, notice your front foot, ground that leg. That grounding action comes from pressing the heel, activating the muscles of the leg. Second leg is your power leg. So we're going to do two movements. Remember, there is intention too. If there is no intention, you'll get 50% of the benefit. If there is the intention to come up, there's something that is happening in the body already getting to go. Did you see my hands? My hands are not relaxing now. My hands are grounding. My hands are going. So moving to the side, and then exhale once as if you were going to come up, but you don't. Get those muscles active and working. Second time, inhale, exhale, lengthen, and come back. Third time we come up, inhale, exhale, and get up. Beautiful. Let's sit down again and let's try the second part. Okay, so I would still instruct the person to come sideways to get a little bit of a support on the back of the chair. Okay, so feet are separated, hip distance apart, and then lengthen either one or both arms. Second time, as if somebody was pulling you up. And then third time, use your exhalation, ground your feet and come up. Nice. Doesn't it feel right? Logical for the back? And now if we do it 10 times, that will be our workout of the day. So let's come to the back of the chair. And now that we're standing up, let's just use this time a little bit to do a couple of moves. So I'm not going to do a whole standing chair yoga class, but there are many things. One option that I do want to show you is what do we do to create that sensation of child's pose. Create that sensation. What do we do in child's pose? We want to open, we release the lower back, there is space. So bring the hands on the back of the chair, walk your feet back. Important to bend your knees. And now create that traction by pressing your heels down, and traction by bringing the buttocks, the glutes back. Can be here, or you can let the head come between the arms. There is a space on the chest. There is really grounding on the legs. There's safe alignment of your back. Take another breath here. As you exhale, start to coming up and walk forward and come back to center. Good. Another nice way to release the lower back into more standing restorative practice. And you still use the back of the chair. We can do it at both levels, but safer back of the chair is a really good option. Open your legs in a big triangle. And for this, you're going to turn the heels slightly outwards, because if the heels go in, there will be a little bit of compression on the lower back, a little bit of compression around the sacrum, and the folding will be from the middle of the body. Heels slightly out liberates your sacrum, frees up the tailbone. So hands on the back of the chair, and then your legs wide. Bring the forearms on the back of the chair. Legs can be slightly bent or not, and rest your forehead on the arms. That's it. Making sure that there is no feeling of compression on the back or the neck. Rest your head. Bend the knees all you need, all you want. Take a moment there. See what's the action happening on your legs. Support the upper body, releases. Take one more breath. And then, as you inhale, press down into the chair. Close your feet. And come back. So let's close our time here with a little bit. Come back and sit down. And come into the front of the chair. Okay. And again, talking about our nervous system. Everything is related with our hands, with our feet, with our body. Talking about chemo brain or brain fog. There's a very, I love this exercise because it brings attention, focus, action. So here we go. Let's create that body awareness, dissolving body awareness in a little fun way. Arms in cactus pose. With your right hand, you're going to do, I'm okay. And with your left hand, you're going to be, I'm all right. Now, slowly change. Left hand, I'm okay. Right hand, I'm all right. And then change again. I'm all right, I'm okay. Change again. I'm okay, I'm all right. And change again. And change again. And change again. And change again. There we go. I can see the smiles. And change again. It should not be frustrating. It has to be fun. And then release. Place the palms of the hands up. Relax. So when we focus our attention, the brain works. Our nervous system relaxes because we cannot bring the attention outwards. We're just too busy doing this. Take another breath here. And then this will be the end of class. So it's not the same structure maybe with regular class where we're doing a full class and then relaxing. So dividing this class into parts that both parts can be really long and creative, but some things to be aware just before we finish. And this is for you teachers. We're not doing extreme yoga chair where we demand person to bring legs to create these shapes, okay? What's going to happen if we do this? If there is sensitivity, if there is bone loss, some people could do it. And if it's a well-aligned posture, can be great. but lower back in this kind of shape, this is not what we're looking for. So there is, please understand a difference between chair yoga, oncology chair yoga, and kind of a younger style chair yoga, where we do more therapeutic, restorative using the chair. So many options, and I'm going to close here so we can have a little chat in a little time to discuss. Back to you, Tari.
Thank you, Laura. That was terrific. Tari, you're on mute. Still can't hear you.
Yes, there. Okay, now you can. Thank you, Laura. That was beautiful. And not only beautiful, but you punched in there so much information and new, fresh ideas. And I hope that everyone, I know I have a few questions for Laura, and I hope everybody else will be willing to bring their questions in. But Laura, I don't know, maybe you have some for us first. I thought that your ending in defining what we have classically seen as chair yoga and what you did, which was far more gentle and supportive and really accessible. But maybe you want to lead us off with a couple of questions to us as to what.
All right. Yeah. And there are three little things that for me comes if I take my seat of the student. I'm always like to study and to learn. And maybe some of you have heard about the myth of chair yoga is not good for the spine. Chair yoga is not good. Have you heard that? What do you think about that? How does it land for you?
And you're welcome to come off. You can either raise your hands or put it in the chat or just come off of mute. We're in a pretty manageable group. So
I think, this is Nina. I think a lot of people, some people, as you said, are scared and don't want to get up from the chair. It's the opposite. But could you just repeat the question? I think
Yes.
I had a wrong connection. Could you please repeat that?
Yes, the question is more like, let's analyze that. There is a myth that I have heard through the years that chair yoga is not good for the spine. Chair yoga is not good.
Well,
So,
I think with the cueing that you have given and that you have alerted us, I don't think chair yoga is dangerous. But at the same time, I feel as a teacher, as an oncology nurse, that if you give cueing properly, there should be nothing wrong. I don't think you're doing anything wrong to the spine, provided you keep engaging them to keep their spine aligned, and any movement that they're doing has to have that elongation, that broadening, and looking forward, not curving, not bending too much. I think giving those cues does help. And I think that, to me, I feel that it's not a myth of that. Whatever you said is a myth. I don't believe in that. Because I think as teachers, if we know what we're saying, as you explained very clearly, all the rationale for each of the poses, what does the brain do? How does it connect to the fascia, to the muscle? If the explanation, that's how I teach. I taught a class today. I teach with in-depth rationale and making them understand, why are you doing the pose? Stop and think. Not just doing it blindly. And that's what Tari told us, right? And that's exactly what I use. And it's very helpful.
Tari?
So I think Laura, what the point that Laura is making, where this misconception about chair yoga might come from, is that it has, when it first started being used, first started taking concrete poses like Warrior One and Warrior Two, and putting them in a chair, as Laura demonstrated so nicely. when the chair forces you, the chair is an object. And when you use the chair to force your leg back so that it brings the spine into maybe not complete alignment, but rather a force is an object rather than it is just your body. So I think that that's the mistake of the misconception, is that when, you know, we've taken concrete poses, do warrior one, do warrior two. Warrior two, my goodness, in a chair is really, really difficult. Very, very difficult.
Yeah,
Because you're using the object to manipulate your body. And you're not doing, the chair is doing the cueing, not the teacher.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Okay.
Because the chair is forcing you to
do that
keep
pose.
keep the structure of your body in a really wide open warrior two, rather than letting your fascia talk to the brain, so that the brain can talk to the muscles and articulate what you should be doing, not what the chair is doing. So I think that's where the misconception comes from, Laura. What do you think?
Yeah. And at the same time, I think it's exactly. That's why that sometimes, and I wanted to bring it up because sometimes these things are taking and we hear them and then we get confused. It's good, it's not, should I do, should I not? So another thing that, two other things that I want to say, and I know Kenya is there, just give me 1 second. I use a lot of vocabulary. I use a lot of maybe anatomical terms. I'm talking to you teachers now. I would perhaps soften and decorate that a little bit up in my class, because maybe not everybody knows what fascia is. Not everybody knows that there are receptors in fascia. Okay, so I know that I'm addressing to you, and do you know what fascia is?
So Kenya is
Kenya, go ahead.
So I'm going to answer the question about fascia.
No, if you want, you can do your answer, and then we.
Okay, well, I'll do both. Fascia is sort of like that thin layer that's all throughout the body that covers. It's sort of like the wrapping on the whole body. Like, you know, you have your bone, your muscle, and it's a thin layer covering all of your body. It has a lot of, I guess, nerve endings or what have you. That's my idea of fascia.
Fascia also covers organs. It covers organs and muscle. Yeah.
Yeah. So it's like the thin little sheath. It was really interesting. There was a traveling show. I forget, it was called The Body something, and you saw live cadavers, I guess, with muscle and everything. And it was really cool to see that in person, how that looked. But I was going to say, as far as, you know, with chair yoga, I can just add in on to what Tari said, the chair becomes the object, and you sort of lose that connection with your body, working with that gravity, resistance to gravity. You know, you're forcing and using the chair as opposed to your body getting really, really rooted and you working against the resistance of gravity, as opposed to forcing your body into something with the chair, sort of like as the in between you being rooted and being able to ground with that resistance.
Mm-hmm.
That's what I kind of thought.
Great.
Totally agree with you, Kenya. Perfect.
Thank you.
And
looks
I
like
see Laura that has her hand up.
Hendelson, yes.
Hi, Laura. Thank you. That was really helpful. The first time I was asked to teach chair yoga to a group of people with cancer, I didn't really know what to do, and I kind of Googled some stuff, and a lot of what I did kind of looked like sun salutations because I didn't know much of what else to do. And I was curious how you feel about forward folds in the chair. And I know that we avoid a lot of forward folding in the Y4C methodology. And I was curious if it's the sort of same concerns about the pressure on the spine in the chair, or if it's different.
For me, I can, and I would love to hear Tara on this too, but for me will be the same precautions. So I will not be creating complete forward rolling up and down if I know that there is the risk of spine, lumbar, cervical spine, there might be a risk of metastatic cancer. So why to create, again, the weight of the head coming up? So when I show the forward slide or forward fall from the hips, that's an option, but I will be really, really cautious in instructing something, again, like forward rolls or forward bends. For other clienteles, I have other people that are not dealing with cancer. Sometimes I do roll up and down, and that works on the whole layer of the fascia of the back. But again, keeping that really safe. Oncology yoga, the same, we don't know what's going on the hip. So creating safe space with the chair. Tari, anything you want to add up?
Well, I think, Laura, that all of the Laura Andelson, we have two Lauras on, and on my screen, they're both on either side. So I kind of, the same principles apply to forward folding, whether you're seated on the floor, you're standing, you're seated in a chair, is that we want to keep the spine in a flat back in alignment. We don't want to do a forward bend. And I think that it's and the point that Laura Hernandez made in the beginning is that coming forward on the chair. So you're sitting a little bit off and your back is not leaning up. You don't have your butt out the hole. That was news to me, Laura, and I thought that was a cute little, now I know the ergonomics of a folding chair, but that we want to keep the spine in a fold. So we're folding from the hips. And Laura demonstrated that very well in standing. I mean, what she did there in that, it was sort of she called it a child's pose, but basically she was in a forward fold standing. So doing that seated, and it's just that you are not going to bring your nose to your knee. I mean, you'd have to round the spine in order to do that. So I think you probably did it right, maintaining all the same standards, because a forward bend is puts pressure on the lower spine. A forward fold will not. It will keep it in proper alignment and be supportive of it. Now, I think too, what we want to do in a forward fold in a chair is to make sure that if you are going to use your arms and forward fold, that you be quite careful about that, and definitely keep the head in alignment, because that whole amount of extra weight is a lot more weight on the lower spine. So we really want to keep it in a flat back.
Exactly.
One of the little, do we have another hand up? Because I love the questions from other people rather than my commentary, but I thought it was just profoundly instructive, Laura, of how with the simple thing of the palms up, inviting relaxation, the palms down. Oh my God, I'm getting ready to go. I'm getting ready to go. I thought that was, I just felt that in my body. So that it was profound, the difference between where the palm placement was on my thighs. I don't know if anybody else saw that, but I thought that was.
I felt that too. I felt that too.
Yeah, and felt it.
Yeah.
My body.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I have a question too, to both Tari and Laura. I do agree what Tari said, that chair becomes an object. But at that point, I have so many people in the class. There are two of them that have Parkinson's along with their cancer. And so the neurologically, it's very difficult for them to even, our ultimate goal is to get them off the chair. So, and get them slowly on their own terms, not force them to. But at the same time, when you have clients or patients like that, would they ever come? I don't think they would ever come out of the chair and feel safe to being, to doing the standing pose. What do you think? And that is something you cannot push them, but you just wait to happen, wait it and let it happen.
Well,
That's this thing, because I have
yeah,
2 clients
exactly.
who are extreme cancers, have survivors, but at the same time, I'm noticing one has multiple sclerosis and the other one has Parkinson's.
Mhm.
And I've been
So-
doing the same way, what you said, the chair poses, what Tari,
Right.
was saying. How do you help them?
So I'm just going to come back to one thing I learned at the very, very beginning when I started doing all these teacher trainings that I was taking teacher training and I was wanted to teach. One of my teachers said, ideally, yoga should be taught one-on-one.
Exactly. I
Right?
believe that.
So if I have a client and I'm working with that person in private, I'm 150%
yeah.
there. So I know the person, I know the background, I know the side effects, I know what's going on in the body, so I can really move with the person. And but I cannot have a group online or 5 or 6 or 7 students and say, okay, now we're going to get up the chair, and I don't know, you have a little Parkinson, but you have a little cancer. I don't know. So
Exactly.
safety first, and that's one of the things that fall back for me into the methodology of yoga for cancer. Safety first.
Yeah.
Then, yes, how can what we're doing, we're encouraging or we're increasing the possibilities of students getting better, right? So if we can create some movement on the chair and be safe, there are more chances that that person will get up from the chair instead of maybe just bring them out of the chair too quickly and they don't know what to do. So for me, again, it's difficult to answer, but again, teaching, that's all
I've been teaching for about 6
deep
months
aspect
now.
of teaching.
They're
But
slowly getting
safety
there.
first. Safety
They're
first.
slowly getting there.
And
But the thing, go ahead.
go ahead, Tari.
One of the dominant things of Laura's class today was patterned behavior and creating pathways that so it's both the body talking to the mind or the brain and the brain talking to the muscles. So or rather, it's the brain listening. And if we don't create movement for the brain to listen to what's going on in the body, it's not going to learn anything. It's not going to advance. It's not going to get better. So creating simple pathways. Laura started very, very simply in just that one movement of coming forward, maybe not completely out of the chair, but that began the pathway of the muscles were, she said the fascia, but it was really, the movement of the muscles in the bone spoke to the brain. And the brain then, next time it was repeated, did it a little bit more and a little bit further. So it's that repetition. And that's one of the other things about yoga for cancer, at least in my perspective, is that it is matching breath and movement. And we do the vinyasa because we repeat that and we get more towards that full expression of the pose. And I think that was the goal that Laura had today. And said, what are we going to do to get that brain to get that body out of the chair? And you'll make tiny little improvements.
It's
and it
just
won't
that
happen
I
overnight.
teach a hybrid class. I have so many people online and I have rest of the people in person. So teaching a hybrid
that's very
class,
difficult.
So teaching
That's
a
really
hybrid
good.
class, I'm trying to keep a knack of all the people there because I took everybody's
Yeah.
intake and had them email it to me so that I know exactly where they are.
Mm.
And the same thing in person, but the challenge is, I think it is much better when they are in person because your vision and you are visibly seeing them.
Well,
And then
and a lot of us are yoga therapists, and I think that as yoga therapists, we would definitely agree to that. Calling for, let's have a special workshop or a session
Exactly.
on teaching hybrid yoga. I see Tristana. Tristana has her hand up.
Yes, hi. Thank you, Laura, for the practice. I just have one question because I've been using the share as a tool in order to assist me given standing positions, but not the whole practice. And I think it will make a difference, but I want to be sure if there is a proper place or like alignment, how to put the share, because for example, the way I located it, when I was going to stand up, my feet were off the mat, the way I put it before the class. So I don't know if the analysis that I may do is, if there is a class that we are going to be standing up from the chair, should I place it that when I stand up, my feet will be on the mat, or there is something that I just can guide myself with that?
Mhm. Well, I'd like to place my chair, if you saw, a little tilted, not like so, but a little to the side. Okay. And yeah, I think if I understand your question, it's a matter of logistical arrangement of the camera and how to place the chair, right?
No,
That's
no,
what
no,
you mean?
no, no,
No.
no, no, because of the camera, because thinking about the participants, if at some place or moment in the practice, I am going to give them the cue to stand up and get out of the chair. In that second part that you talk about, the transition from being on the chair to standing up, the way I had my chair, because I did not foresee it, I ended up with my feet outside the mat.
Okay.
Outside the mat, and if I and then I had it's better, it doesn't matter, or it's better to place the chair if I'm doing that transition, that when I guide my students to come out of the mat, they will be full on the mat with their feet on the mat, so they are safer, because it all depends on the ground that we are. That kind of where my question goes.
Mm-hmm. I can see, if I understand, maybe, yes, the chair can be put on a place where you can always be on the mat, but as long as it's possible, because when you're transitioning from sitting to standing, there might be a time where, it will be a lot of playing around with the chair to be able to put it back. So you get up and you're still on your mat, and then you have to get up and place it back. So I don't think I haven't found a really specific way to do it. So unless we have like 2-3 mats around, I don't know if that
Tristana,
clarifies the question.
Tristana, is it you that have this problem, or it happens to the students as well?
No, I haven't used a chair only as a tool for standing position. I just, that when I was doing the practice right now, the way I put from the start,
I see. Okay.
I don't know,
Okay.
because I'm just trying to click, click, click. When I was going to put my chair at the beginning of the practice, I was like, oh, how did I put it? I put it diagonally, like Laura, I put it like this, and I choose the fastest way for me. And then when I got out of the chair, my feet were on the floor.
And
Right.
was the chair on the mat? Was the chair on the mat? Tristana, you are muted now.
Yeah, the chair was yeah.
Oh, that's all that matters. It doesn't matter where
Exactly.
your feet are.
Okay.
It just matters where the chair is.
Yeah,
The
I know
chair
that.
is
As long as
always
the
on
chair
mat.
doesn't fly away, you can always have your mat, the chair on this way, the mat on that way, and the chair So
Yeah,
not
I mean, it
front of
doesn't
the
matter
mat,
where your
but
feet are.
horizontal.
Well, how I learned the
Okay.
purpose of the chair on the mat is to prevent it from sliding. So as long as
Right.
it's on the mat, that's
Right. So it doesn't matter where your feet are.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think Nancy
So
has.
Nancy, do you have something to add to this?
I was going to add too, for safety first, I mean, in an ideal situation, you would have the chair on the mat and the person's feet on the mat, so everything gets the best opportunity for stickiness. But not everybody has the setup. I mean, if you really could, you could put a chair in a corner or against a wall so that, sorry for this redecoration here, but if you put the mat against the wall and then you put the legs of the chair against the wall, they're not going to be able to move. The chair's not going to slide, but then that makes it difficult to get your arm on the back of the chair. So, we're trying for safety first. And I do a lot of chair in my Yoga for Cancer classes because I really think it helps people with balance issues. I want them to be able to get balance. And I think if they have something there just in case, it gives them a lot of security. So we're constantly moving the chair in the practice so that they have it in a position that works well for them. So I guess I would say, Tristana, when you're doing it, play with it a lot before you teach it so that you can see in the practice you're proposing to teach with that chair, you can kind of see what is going to be a good transition. How are you going to be able to move them around and move the chair there by having the chair and standing with it, even if they touch it and release or hold on to it, they're building bone density in their legs. They're building endurance in their legs. That little bit of lifting the chair and moving it or moving themselves around a chair is giving them more mobility and a little bit of strengthening. But really for you to play with it, I love everything that Laura did. I mean, that was so amazing. So many new things for me to incorporate in what I'm doing. I'm really excited about that. And obviously she spent time preparing what she was going to teach, thinking about how things link together, thinking how she's going to move us around on the chair without moving us physically all over the place in a nice, smooth flow. And as you put your practice together, you can play with it and see, do you like this transition? Where do you land? How can you tweak it so you get it in the best position for your students that you'll be teaching?
Right.
Thank you, Nancy.
And I think that the actual moving of the chair like that too, Nancy, is gives confidence, it gives agency and addresses some of the issues that Mina brought up in terms of students who have other challenges that might be more neurologically based, just having to know how to move a chair and where to move it. And that, sets other thinking patterns going. So, all right.
I just
Any other?
Just one little idea. This is Kenya. Tristana, you might
Okay.
even try. I know this is not the option for everyone. You don't have a lot of mats, but you can have two mats, one draped across the other in the middle. And then either position you're on, your feet are going to be on the mat and your chair is going to be on the mat. So you might try that too, having one, lengthwise and one right down the middle and the chair right in the center. That might be an idea as well.
Yeah, and I think also of this precious territory of the mat. I mean, we can do yoga anyway. We don't have to have a mat to do yoga on. If your feet are bare, it's safer. But certainly it's the fortifying of the chair, as Nancy was emphasizing, and that we want that chair to be secure. No chairs on rollers, and best option mat. Okay, any other questions? I thought that Laura put a lot of time and thought into this class, and many ideas, and the okay little mantra. what do we think of that? Is that not something that is, I mean, I don't have chemo brain. But I think that I know I have been taking some yoga for geared towards aging and looking at the neuroplasticity of the brain as we age. And it is precisely that kind of thing that they are teaching the elderly like me to do. You know, I mean, it's as good as playing bridge or doing crossword puzzles. But it's a wonderful, clever mantra. Thank you, Laura, for giving us that little. It's a spin on mudras, a really good one.
Great.
All right. Well, it's been